Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to watch anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely will not match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Just be respectful in the comment section. Thank you. And as always, possible spoiler warning ahead. Hey guys, Darth Glork here, back with another positive anime review. Today we will be talking about Highschool of the Dead. So, this anime is surprisingly popular, considering that it is a ecchi, and considering that it is that there's only one season and whatnot. It's pretty popular, all things considered, and I thought it was about time that I put out my review of it. So this is another one of the anime that I own, that I am reviewing. I'm going through, like I said, for the last few animes actually have been animes that I own, and I'm just going back through in order to get them all reviewed, because I have mentioned this before that I have the 6 out of 5 section on my reviewing system is a newer thing, and so because of that, and because I do reviews now in general, I am going back through of all the anime I've seen, and I am watching them. So not to say that every anime from here forward is going to be all ones I see, it's just that I'm in the mood for stuff that I've seen. Yeah, so I'm in the mood there. Sorry, that was my iPad. Anyway, if you guys heard that. Anyway, so I'm just in the mood lately for stuff that I've seen. And so eventually, of course, we'll get back to anime that I haven't seen, and it'll just be but mixed in. There'll be stuff I've seen and stuff I haven't, but of course, I will let you know which is which. Anywho, so like I said, we will be talking about Highschool of the Dead. So we will open up, of course, with the synopsis. It is the quickest way to summarize what any anime is about. Anyway, like I said, now if I crush any names, I am my bad. But luckily, these names are pretty easy as far as like Japanese names are concerned. And I've seen this anime a lot of times, and so it's one of those things that they're far less foreign to me than they might be, because I've seen this anime a lot. Anyway. Sorry, I'm like choking on myself. Okay, it happened suddenly. The dead began to rise, and Japan was thrown into total chaos. As these monsters began terrorizing a high school, Takashi Kimuro is forced to kill his best friend when he gets bitten and join the ranks of the Walking Dead. Vowing to protect Rei Miyamoto, the girlfriend of the man he just executed, they narrowly escape their death trap of a school, only to be greeted with a society that has already fallen. Soon, Takashi and Rei band together with other students on a journey to find their family members and uncover what caused this overwhelming pandemic. Joining them is Saeko Busujima, the beautiful president of the Kendo Club, Koda Hirano, an otaku with a fetish for firearms, Saya Takagi, the daughter of an influential politician, and Shizuka Marikawa, their hot school nurse. But will the combined strength of these individuals be enough to conquer this undead apocalypse? There you go. That is there is the synopsis. So, now, moving right along, this anime, I think it was from the summer. Let me go ahead and check here. This is from the summer 2010 season, so obviously it's been a while. It is almost 10 years old now, which is unfortunate. But, so it is 9 years old now, and yeah, so sorry, I have no ability to focus. So, anyway, now, as far as dub or sub is concerned, this is actually one of them that I have actually watched it more dubbed than subbed. It's the first time, of course, any first time I go through any anime, I watch it subbed, but this is, far from my first time of watching this one. So, but the dub is actually really good. The dub is really well put together, and I 100% recommend it. Now this time around, I watched the sub just because it was the one that was less familiar. And I watched the sub, and the sub was really good too. Now, I preferred the subbed version to the dubbed version, but the dub is really good, and I have seen both, and I really like both. So, shout out to this one for being one of the dubs that's really good. Now, for the most part, I am, of course, a sub person, but when there's a good dub, I feel like it's my duty to tell you guys, because, in my humble opinion, good dubs are hard to come by. Anyway, so moving into our next section, talking about rating. Now, it should be no surprise. This is a ecchi anime, ecchi to the max. and that should be, you have to know that going in. I would definitely give this one in like a mature adult R type of rating, just because this anime has a lot of ecchi stuff, and there is blood and gore and death, and it's pretty intense that way. So it should be no surprise that this is probably a mature anime for sure, and so if you should know that going in. Now, talking about our genres, a genre is action, horror, supernatural, ecchi, of course, and again, that should be no surprise. So similar anime, it's I think in some ways, like as far as the ecchi but like still pretty good is concerned, I would probably maybe say High School DxD or High School. I've heard it's technically supposed to be pronounced High School DD, but High School DD sounds stupid, so I always say High School DxD, so whatever. Anyway, and so sorry to get off of that on the random side tangent. Anywho, so this anime only has one season. It has one season. It is 12 episodes. There is also an OVA. The OVA is called High School of the Dead, Drifters of the Dead. Now, the OVA has nothing story-wise in it important. You should know that. It's just ecchi randomness. And so there's nothing story-wise that happens there. So I do recommend watching it if you liked the show. If you didn't, then I would recommend ignoring it, because obviously you're not going to like the OVA either. Anyway, now the reason that I think that this is probably a step above your run-of-the-mill ecchi, the reason that I think this is better is because, so for me, I am a serious anime person. For me, comedy anime are far more rare on my watch list. I do have comedy anime that I've seen that I really like, and I have some that I'm like, it's not bad. You know, it was worth a watch or whatever. But by and large, I am not a comedy person. Now, interestingly, a lot of ecchi anime is often tied to like comedic slice of life moments type of thing. Now that is not my thing. Most of the time, I need like more serious stuff around it to make it watchable for me. Now I think this one of the reasons that this is a ecchi above the rest is because this one is a serious ecchi. Whereas if you think of, for instance, High School DxD, it is a lot of the time it is a like more of a comedy ecchi where there's a lot of like comedic ecchi moments, like getting into like awkward situations, like stuff like that, you know, stuff like that. And that's why I like this one, because this is it's more of a serious ecchi. It's less, they don't go for comedy moments. There's a couple of funny moments, but it's not supposed to be funny a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And so for me, that's why I like it. That's one of the reasons I think it's better. The other big reason that for me it's better is actually the characters. And again, because it's serious, the characters are deeper than a lot of ecchi anime, that they have backstory, they have reasons behind the things that they do. There's a lot of heavier issue moments in this one. Now, this is one of those anime that has a reputation for being really ecchi, and a lot of people rip it to shreds. My advice to you is ignore that. Don't listen to all the people online who are going to rip it to shreds. My advice is to watch all anime that way. You know, now that I review anime, I see more reviewing than I have before previously, and I am once again reminded why I don't watch anime reviews before I watch an anime. Now, that's a personal choice, but the reason I don't do that is because I have never met anyone that shares my taste in anime. That I've never met anyone that was open-minded enough to not just rip apart an anime because it's not whatever their two favorite anime of all time. And for me, it's irritating, because I think most anime have a redeemable quality about them that you should enjoy, or could enjoy, or at least be open-minded to. Now, it's just so, for me, that is something that I like. That's the reason so far on my channel I have never had a score less than a 4 out of 5. Now, there is anime that I have seen that have gotten worse scores, but the list of anime that I straight up didn't like is short. It's very short. It's probably less than 15 animes in the over 100 I've seen. You know, so because of the sheer number, I watch all of my anime reviews, and I am altogether mostly positive. It's the reason I did these reviews to begin with, because I thought someone should be a voice of positivity in the anime community. Someone should. Even if I am the only one, I think this anime is really good, and I 100% encourage you to watch it and develop your own opinion, because I've been watching a couple of reviews that I happen to scroll past as I'm going through anime and trying to figure out what to watch next a lot of the time, and everyone just is constant negativity, and for me, that's annoying. I hate that crap, especially when you get people that they literally never have anything positive to say about an anime ever. It just sounds like such a millennial, not even millennial, it's not even that, it's like a hipster thing to do, to like just be against it because you have to be upset. You know what I mean? That's just, it's retarded. Anyway, so I'm sorry to get on that random side tangent. It's just, for me, it's incredibly irritating. It's just so annoying. Anyway, so moving on to our next section. Obviously, I just did say before, it is 12 episodes. There is one season. Your episode length is completely normal, exactly what you would expect. It's like whatever it is, 24 minutes or something. Now, another thing that I've added to my anime list that I make sure I touch on now is there anything after the closing song? Some anime have important things after, that it might save the anime from being crappy to great. You know, it's just one of those things you have to watch for. Now, some anime have nothing afterwards important. Well, one part of my reviewing now is I make sure to tell you, is there anything after the credits? Now, this is an anime, there is more story stuff after the credits. There is a very important things after the credits. So this is one of those, you know, after the closing song, stick around and watch it, because there's a lot of stuff that is resolved in the post-credit scenes that otherwise wouldn't be, and it would leave you with a lot of questions. You're like, wait, what's happening? You know what I mean? And so this is one of those. Stick around and make sure you watch it. Now, for me, most any anime is only as good as the characters in it. Now, this is another one of those anime with strong characters. If it was just about ecchi crap and the characters were one-dimensional and boring, this would be crappy. I mean, the premise for me is fun. The whole zombie apocalypse thing, I think it's cool. I think it's a fantastic premise, and that is 100% what this is about. Is that it's chaos. It's like chaos and anarchy, and there's zombies killing everybody, and it's pretty intense. Now, for me, this anime is so good because of the characters in it. Now, if anyone has ever watched any of my anime stuff or watched any of my, here's my favorite anime character, it is no secret that my favorite anime girl of all time is in this anime. And so obviously that makes me biased, 100%. You should know that. I am biased about this anime because my favorite character. But at the same time, if I loved this character, then maybe it could be on your radar, and maybe it could be on your radar too. Just saying. Anywho, so this anime is my favorite girl of all time is in this anime, and I am so excited to get to the character section. So going into our characters, the main guy is going to be Takashi Komuro. He is one of the only men in this whole anime. Not to say there isn't other guys in it, but he is the main guy, and he's kind of, as far as personality is concerned, he's at first he's very upset and pissed off because him and the first girl you meet, which is Rei Miyamoto, have history together, and they were apparently friends as kids, and they've sort of grown up together. And apparently Takashi and Rei always had this unspoken attraction thing, and Rei really liked him, but Takashi didn't do anything about it, and so she is dating now Takashi's best friend, and now he's all pissed off about it. So at first he's kind of a moody punk teenager, right? And so at first I don't know. There's not really any thoughts either way. You're just like, oh, whatever. Teenagers will be teenagers. But that's pretty much how he is now. But later, his personality does develop, and he kind of comes into his own in the zombie apocalypse, which it kind of takes sort of this drastic world-changing event to push him over the edge from moody teenager to leader of this group, and this the person that holds them all together, and this really cool guy. And that's different. And so it's cool that he does mature and he does get better. I will say this though, there is a lot of slapping in this anime. Just like people getting slapped all the time. Anyway, so it's just one of those things. If you don't like seeing a girl get slapped because even if she's being a punk or otherwise, I would encourage you to watch out, because there's a lot of slapping going on. You're like, why is everybody hitting everybody else? Stop it. Anyway, sorry. I just think it's really funny because there's a couple of times where you're just like, oh my gosh, are you okay? It's just really intense. Anywho, sorry. It makes me laugh. Anywho. So the other main girl that you're going to meet first is going to be, of course, Rei Miyamoto. Now, like I said, her and Takashi have history, and Rei for me is actually kind of an irritating character. Now, personality wise, she kind of treats Takashi like crap, and there's a lot of stuff where she's like, I feel this way, but I say this other thing to you. You're like, if you feel opposite of what you're saying, why? I mean, pardon my French, but why the hell do you keep saying it? And for me, it's annoying. She seems very shallow and very let me torture Takashi just because it's fun. And I don't know. I find her irritating that she often is very mean and very cruel to Takashi, and it often really pisses him off. And then she's upset like she's the victim. I'm like, well, it's because you push him over the edge, and as the anime goes on, she becomes more aware of the fact that she does that. And she does get nicer to him as it goes on. I will say that. She does 100% improve. So especially by the ending parts, she's not nearly as irritating. But at least for the first maybe half, she is such a punk. And I find her kind of irritating. Now, so those two are main characters. Now, the main group of all of these students, mostly, that hang together, they are all main characters. They all get a lot of screen time. The anime pretty much follows this main group. So I'm only going to go into that main group, so the main people you should know about, just like I normally do. And then other characters, they're more minor, and you'll get to know them. So with any review I pretty much just introduce all your main characters, the people you should really keep an eye out for, pretty much. Anyway, so going into our next main character, of course, my favorite girl in all of anime, Saeko Busujima. She is... Okay, now before I say anything else, this is going to be 100% bias, okay? 100% bias. I'm going to tell you why I think she is perfect in every way, but you might not think that way, okay? So I realize that for other people, she might not be the greatest thing to ever walk the earth, but for me, she is. So I'm going to tell you why I think she's perfect, and you can agree or disagree, just like with any review I ever do. Now, Saeko Busujima, she is the leader of the Kendo club at the school. I think she mentions that she is she's like a third year, so she's like, the last year before you graduate high school, for my understanding of the Japanese school system, which I don't know much about except for from anime. I might point out. Anyway, she is the leader of the Kendo club. She is an incredible swordsman, and she is just like assassinating these zombies, and it's really cool to watch. Now, on the surface, so Saeko for me is really fun because she is a complex character, more than what she seems. On the surface, she is very kind of old school, that she is very very much of the very older style of how she kind of follows like a Bushido type code, where she sees men a certain way, or she thinks that women are a certain way. Now, it's an older point of view, but I don't think there's anything totally wrong with it. You know what I mean? It's not a modern view, and your gut reaction is to react. I noticed it too when I first watched it, and some of the things she said, it didn't bother me at all, but my thought is, in a modern point of view, people might complain that she is, wow, she's sexist. Wow, she's whatever. It's not. It's an older point of view. It's an older style of thinking. Now, it's not wrong. It's just older. So if she says things about women or women about things about men or whatever, like for instance, sometimes Takashi will say something and someone else will start to argue, and Saeko will cut him off and be like, no, the man has made his decision, or whatever. Okay, stuff like that. It's an older point of view, and but it's not sexist, because she has her own opinions too. She has her own thoughts on how she would do things, but she respects when he comes to a decision, and I admire that. That I'm not saying that you should be quiet because you're a woman, and I should make the choices because I'm a man. I can just see where she's coming from. Okay. Anyway, so she is an incredible swordsman. Now, on the surface, that is all she is. She's very polite. She is very nice to the people around her. She's very nice. She's very caring. She is just really, really sweet to a lot of people. Now, she is an absolute monster on the battlefield when she is slaying zombies. She is an absolute assassin, and that is really cool. Now, the reason that I love her to death is because of what's beneath. Now, again, really quick, spoilers. I'm going to get into a little bit of spoilers for her because I feel like to understand who she really is, you have to know this. So, I think it totally tells you. I think it's episode 9 that it tells you her whole story in episode 9 of the season. So you really get to know who she is and what she's about. Just so you guys are aware. Anyway, so Saeko, but underneath she has this side of her where she and I'm trying to remember what the word is called. I'm actually going to Google it really quick. Hang on. Okay, we are back. So I Googled the word there so I could figure out what it was called. But so basically, she underneath, she actually is kind of a sadist, honestly. And I Googled it to make sure that word I thought was right. So basically, but you find out about her past. So in the past, when she was younger, when she was young, a couple years ago, or the school before, I don't know what school that is. Is that middle school? I'm not entirely positive about which school that is, but a few years prior to where she's at now, she was walking home and this dude tries to jump her and tries to rape her. Now, she had her training sword, this the hardened wooden training sword that the kendo, people that practice kendo use. Well, she was carrying it with her, and she hits him. She hits the potential rapist with it, and she breaks his collarbone and his jaw because she hits him she hits him several times. She breaks his collarbone, I think it was his collarbone, and breaks his jaw pretty much. So she destroys this guy. Now, but now all of that's deserved. Okay, this dude jumped her and tried to rape her. He deserves to at least have his collarbone and his jaw broken. Okay, and he gets in trouble, and Saeko does not get in trouble because the cops are like, okay, that makes sense. You were defending yourself. That's okay. Now, the reason that it's deeper than that is because Saeko she enjoyed hurting him. She enjoyed the feeling of power that she had over him. Now, and so at first it's a really scary thing for her because in the zombie apocalypse in modern times, in this zombie apocalypse with the zombies everywhere, she gets off on killing these zombies. She enjoys the thrill of battle and to a whole new degree. And at first she's very kind of ashamed of it. Now, what I love is that Takashi doesn't tell her to be different. Takashi doesn't tell her that her dark side is wrong. And that's why I respect him, is because he tells her, he's like, look, I don't care about your dark side. Don't live, if you need a reason to stick around, if you're scared of your own dark side, live for me, stay alive for me, and embrace it. It's a part of you, type of thing, right? And so I like that too. And Takashi actually related to her on this front because Takashi related to her on this front because he also feels more alive and happy than he in the zombie apocalypse than anywhere else, and so he relates to her in that way. Anyway. And so that's the reason that I love Saeko, because she is complex on the surface. She is this warrior that follows Bushido, and this old school way of thinking, and just nothing but mad respect for her. And she definitely has a crush on Takashi, absolutely. Actually, Takashi and her share their Takashi kisses her before he kisses Rei, and that makes me very happy. Basically, full disclosure, I was just happy that Saeko beat Rei for kissing Takashi first, so in your face, Rei. Anyway, so that's why I think that she is pretty much the perfect girl in all of anime. I love her to death. Anywho, so moving on, I've spent far too much time, but come on, she's my favorite girl. You gotta spend a lot of time on her, and that's why she's my favorite, because she's complex, she's deep, she is gorgeous. I personally love the aesthetic of, the long purple hair, and, I love it. It's awesome. Anyway, moving on. So our next character is going to be Kota Hirano. He is the slightly chubby gun maniac dude. He is a crazy marksman, and he's also kind of psychotic on the battlefield. He is a crazy awesome marksman, and he just assassinates people. He's really cool. Now then there's Saya Takagi. She is like tsundere to the max. Saya is kind of a punk on the surface, but deep down she's actually really nice and sweet, and she really loves her friends and her parents and stuff. Just on the surface she's kind of mean, but look past that, she's pretty cool too. She is the pink-haired girl with the glasses with like the double, I think they're called pigtails. That's her. Now moving on is the nurse, the sort of ditzy, not all the way there nurse, Shizuka Marikawa. A lot of supposedly she's supposed to be hot, and I personally see parts of it, but when everybody else is just like white noise in comparison to Saeko, so I realize that's prejudice, but what, for everyone else, but whatever. So she is the blonde, the only adult in the group, but she still follows and hangs out with the group. And then there is the little girl Alice, Marisoto, maybe, but her name is Alice. Okay, you meet her a few episodes in. It's like episode 3 or 4 or something, and you meet Alice, and she's sweet and adorable, and you want to protect her because she's adorable and cute. Anyway, and she is the only little girl, pretty much the only prominent kid in the anime period. And then there's several supporting characters, but no one we're going to go into. That's your main cast. So this main group of people stick together. Other people come and go. There is some villains. There is lots of zombies and etc. etc. Oh, excuse me. But that is what's important. So moving on to our next section, I spent a lot of time on characters, and the characters are important, okay? And especially Saeko and everyone else. Anywho, so obviously, favorite characters, obviously Saeko. And actually Takashi. That Saeko and Takashi are my two favorite in the anime. Obviously, Saeko is above anyone else in any anime ever. But Takashi and Saeko are definitely my favorite two characters in this anime, and I ship the snot out of both of them. I really hope Takashi ends up with Saeko over anybody else, and Rei can suck it because by comparison, she is really irritating and grating, and she's nothing compared to Saeko. Anywho, moving on. So, animation and music. Now, this anime, another strong point for me is the animation. It is really well put together. It is really gorgeous. It is, and because obviously it is an ecchi, right? No, there's definitely no doubt about that. But the fact is, there's really cool action sequences in this anime where the group is fighting zombies or whatever. The action in this anime is actually really cool and really good. And there's several, again, pardon my French, there is several badass moments in this anime that are really, really cool. And I think that credit, give credit where credit is due. It's really well animated and really well put together, and the action sequences are really fun. Now, there's some ridiculous, there's a lot of ridiculous sections in this that is definitely not how things would happen in real life, like physics-wise, okay, and we'll just leave it at that, but there's a lot of ridiculous things, but look past the ridiculous, just enjoy things at face value, and it'll be totally fine. So, music-wise, the opening and closing songs are both really good. They both, perfectly capture what the anime is about. That from the opener and the closer, there's no doubt in your mind that this is, well, it's more the opener really. But the opener is pretty much it'll introduce you that there's action, but it's really ecchi, and don't get confused pretty much. Now, as far as the closer, it's actually more laid back, where it's these what are they called? Polaroids. It's like the old Polaroid pictures. The kind you'd have to shake and they would the picture would come in. It's like a wall of those for a lot of the closer, and so it's more it's a little more touching, so to speak, I guess. It's a little more, there's a little more it's like it captures the group as a bunch of friends, right? It helps you sell the camaraderie that these guys feel, and you really cheer for this group. You want this group to be against the world, and they are, and you like that. I like that. For me, that's a really good point, is that these guys are all united together in surviving the apocalypse, and they know it's about our group above anybody else, and that's the way it should be, especially in my humble opinion. Anywho, so going into our final rating and recommendation, Now, this is another one. It's obviously, just like any other review, is 100% my opinion. If you disagree, 100% totally fine. I just love this anime, and I think it's an ecchi above the rest. I think it deserves credit for that. And especially because of Saiko's character, I think it deserves a high rating for those things. Anyway, final rating for me is going to be a 6 out of 5. One of my favorites. This anime is one of my favorites, and I love it. So true. Especially the action sequences are really fun. The premise is really cool. The characters are deep and serious, and I am very happy that it is not like a comedy ecchi. It's like a serious ecchi, and I love that way more. I would watch many more ecchis if they were serious ecchis. I don't watch a lot of them just because they're mostly comedy, and I find the whole comedy thing detracts from the whole anime as a whole, and I don't like it. Anyway, and I think that is a strong point of this anime. It's serious. The characters are serious and complex, and I love that. So, recommendation, I totally recommend you should watch the anime. Ignore a lot of the haters, just like with any anime I recommend. Ignore the haters, watch it for yourself, develop your own opinion, and I think 100% that's what you should do. And I would encourage you to look past the ridiculous ecchi stuff, because of course it's all over the anime, but it's more than that. It's deeper than that. Just like a lot of animes that are ecchi or stupid in some ways are deeper than they look. Certainly not every anime, but a lot of them are, and I think they 100% deserve credit for that, because a lot of animes are well put together, they're well animated, and it's deeper than they give credit for, and I think there's too much hate in the anime fandom as a whole, and I am trying to spread some positivity in it, because I am not a hateful person in life, and I am not a hateful person in my entertainment, and anime for me is one of the greatest things to ever happen to the world ever, and I think some more positivity could not hurt this fandom and the world as a whole. Anyway, try not to get off point here, but yeah, recommendation, totally recommend it. If you're a fan of cool action sequences, like zombie apocalypse scenarios, or, I mean, if you're just a fan of ecchi, that's fine. Watch it. If nothing else, watch it for Saeko, and then just ignore all the rest of them, because it's worth it just to see her pretty face. Everything else, of course, there's lots of reasons to watch the anime, but if that's all you had, if that's the only reason you had, that's good enough for me. Anyway, that is going to call it for this anime. This one was a little bit longer because there was more to talk about, and let's be honest, Saeko is my favorite, so of course this one was going to be longer. Anywho, so that is going to call it for this one. Right after this, I'm going to record Dragon Age part 7? Part 6? What are we on now? Part 6. I'll be recording part 6 of Dragon Age Inquisition right after this, so stay tuned if you are so interested. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to edit and get this review all the way up on YouTube, and then I will record Dragon Age. So the Dragon Age will be coming out after this, but it'll be a few hours by the time you're seeing this. So it won't be coming right out afterwards, but it'll be up today at some point. So be sure to stay tuned for that if you are so interested. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, Darth Clark here. Oh my gosh, though, what an upset. Darius is like, forget your type advantage, scrub. And look at that stat line. Ooh, sexy. This is your chance, my dude. It's tear gas.
Reznov, save me!
Everyone's rushing. Let's rush too. You could say we're rushing to the objective. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna shoot your little toes. You think PETA's gonna come after me for just executing these monkeys for literally no reason at all? Shoot at me. Sorry. Oh my gosh! Be careful what you wish for, kids. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.